That is it, and that is all. Oklahoma dispatches Michigan 24-13 in a top 25 matchup where the world got to see what Oklahoma had been building to for the past 9 months, coming off of a 6-7 season. You redo the offense, you bring in a 29-year offensive coordinator, a former high school shortstop who didn't play 7-on-7 football, still throws the ball like a high school shortstop. We'll get that in a minute. And you dispatch Michigan, who had come down with Sherrone Moore, who is an alumnus, who had played on 2 Big 12 championship teams, who also said, I want to be remembered as a Michigan man. Well, hey, yeah, you can hold that L with the rest of those Michigan men as Oklahoma improves to 2-0 and gets a resounding win, the kind of win that has everybody thinking what I was saying since August 11th when I got the preseason rankings out. This is a top 10 program, and I have ranked them as a top 10 program from the jump. Bias ain't got nothing to do with it. It's everything to do with what we've seen on this field against this Michigan team and what I thought was going to happen. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us. We do this thing every single day. We talk college football every day. We talk football all the time. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button. Join the more than 139,000 subscribers that, well, participate in the community on the channel. And you can too. You tell me, do you think that Oklahoma should be a top 10 team like I do? In the comments below, and we'll have a robust discussion about that. Also, if you are watching live, thank you so much for being here. If you're listening on the podcast, hey, that's great too, man. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify. I'm still sending out stickers that look like this, if you are willing to, leave us a 5-star review, fill out the form in the description in the video on YouTube below, and we'll take it from there. 24-13, which is not that far off from the 28-24 I thought it was going to be. I thought a low-scoring game really benefited Michigan. I was wrong about that because I got to see some things from the OU offense and the OU defense that we hadn't had, any recollection of since 2023, a program that could take a league and then sit on the lead, something Michigan had done really, really well in 2023 when they ran the table, won the national championship. I'm going to start with the defense. I was just overjoyed to see that Brent Venables was dialed up and dialed in. He was seeing it. As a matter of fact, I was responding to some of the text messages that I received, and shout out to Terry, who's been watching the show since we've done one. This is our 8th year of having this show dating back to September. She's an early adopter of the show. She asked me at halftime, hey, do you think we can hold on to this? I said, look, Michigan hasn't won a football game when they trailed at half in the last, 5 times that they trailed at half. And I also said that this is the first time that Oklahoma's been, that Michigan's been shut out since 2020 in the first half. It feels like if John Mateer doesn't make many mistakes and Brent Venables continues to see it, we're home free. And it looked a little edgy there to start third quarter. Justice Haynes, 75-yard rushing touchdown. Not something you want, but it came out of one of those formations that I'd seen Blake Corum really take advantage of. Sherrone Moore was coaching the offensive line, co-offensive coordinator. They would bring everybody inside that box, and they would wait for somebody to just miss a fill. And then you have that running back that is wide open. There's nobody behind, and you can outrun people to the end zone. He was able to do that in this one. He played outstanding. 19 rushes for 125 yards, another 100 rushing yard game performance from him. But the guy that everybody wanted to see play, and the guy that Michigan was relying on to make them into a national title contender this year, is an 18-year-old by the name of Bryce Underwood, who I said, if this is what you think, you got to be looking at what Trevor Lawrence was able to do in 2018. A really great true freshman season for him. 3,200 yards passing, 30 TDs, just 4 interceptions. But he didn't have a game like this one on the resume at all. Bryce Underwood was held by the Oklahoma defense to 9 of 24 passing for 142 yards. 91 of those yards came by Donovan McCulley, who is out there wearing Braylon Edwards' number, but I mean, that's as close as we're going to get to it. You still don't have anybody else that can help him. And I've had this question about Michigan all year. Even when I knew that Marlon Klein was the guy who's out for this game, you need to have 1, 2, 3 guys that can go help you make plays, and that's what Oklahoma was able to get done in this resounding win. John Mateer was the offense for Oklahoma, and don't let anybody tell you any different. 270 yards passing, 74 yards rushing. The man ran the ball 19 times. He threw the ball 34 times. I'm looking at it, and it's really kind of wild to know that one man was basically able to beat Michigan offensively. That's what happened. If John Mateer is not the athlete that he was, moving around as a rusher and making it happen as a passer while also giving me friggin' heartburn with some of these pass plays he was making, you don't see this, right? I get what people are saying when they say, hey, look, he reminds me a lot of Baker Mayfield with the moxie. I understand that. But John Mateer is way more of a gunslinger than Baker Mayfield is. And by that, I mean, John Mateer is one of them dudes that seems like either they butt naked open and he go hit them, or he says, no, I can fit it with my little sidearm motion that ain't got nothing on the air underneath it. And it's driving me crazy because Michigan players get their hands on this. They came away with an interception because just a bad pass. But anytime you keep doing that sort of stuff, dog, I'm going to lose my mind because there's nothing. You're not going to fix the man's throwing motion. Not at this point. He throws the ball how he throws. He throws the ball like a high school shortstop. You know how some of y'all didn't play baseball. Shortstop is the best athlete on the field. Everybody knows it. There's a reason why that dude is responsible for covering so much ground, and he's usually got one of the strongest arms on the team, if not the strongest arm on the team. If he's athletic, you just don't put him on the mound. You just don't do that. That is how John Mateer plays quarterback. He plays quarterback like a dude fielding ground balls up the middle. And I'm not always interested in the way in which he wants to get rid of the football because it reminds me of a guy that's throwing a baseball. This time it didn't come back to bite Oklahoma, but you could see that there's still more room for this team to grow. And they grew a lot, man. In the fourth quarter, when it was becoming clear that you need to run the ball, you need to sit on it, you need to grind clock out, you need to take the air out of this ball game, Oklahoma was able to do that. I don't remember the last time that Oklahoma was able to run the ball on people, sit on it, and us not lose our minds. Lincoln Riley would take his foot off the gas early, and then all of a sudden, the other team would come back. Some of the play call choices, some of the ways in which you wanted to run the ball became predictable. You can't get it done on third down. That was not the case tonight. Oklahoma was 10 of 17 on third down. That's remarkable stuff there. They were 1 for 1 on the fourth down. They went for it, 408 total yards. Yes, we got 2 turnovers. Yes, there are the 2 sacks and the 5 penalties. But on the whole, you have to be enthusiastic about what you saw if you're a Sooner fan. A, you got the victory. B, it's against a top 25 Michigan team that people respect. And C, this sets you up going to SEC competition feeling as if, yeah, we could hold this because we still got some things that we can clean up. Deion Burks, I was so happy for that dude. I was overjoyed for that. There is nothing like growing up in a place that does not recruit you, where that's all you wanted to do is go play for them, and then never get that opportunity, and then never get a chance to beat them. Deion Burks grew up in Inkster. He went to Belleville High School, the same high school Bryce Underwood went to. When Deion Burks was a senior, Bryce Underwood was a highly regarded 8th grader on his way up there. Michigan did not think Deion Burks was worth a damn. They did not offer him at all. He goes to Purdue, plays 2 years there, 47 catches, 623 yards. They don't beat Michigan. He transfers to Oklahoma. We expect him to be a monster. 2024, he does not have the best year. Could have gone to the NFL draft, could have gone into the portal, probably made a lot of money. Did not want to do that because he believed his name was worth something, and he wanted to show that to Oklahoma fans, and he got Michigan on the schedule. So now you're in it. It is week 2. What does Deion Burks say? I want Michigan. They didn't think that I was any good. I've never beaten them. This is my best opportunity. I want this game. And he got the first TD of the game, and it was outstanding. I'm telling y'all, when the dude comes out to play. 7 catches in this game for 101 yards. Very, very, very impressed by him, but I can't be more impressed than by a guy like Jared Kanek. A linebacker converted to tight end because, Bauer Sharp and them decided they wanted to leave us for whatever. Okay, cool. We're going to take a linebacker. We're going to turn him into tight end who looks like a linebacker playing tight end. There's nothing athletic and finessey about what Jared Kanek is doing except catching the football and blocking. I love watching that dude play. 5 catches, 69 yards for him. And a game where we got to have it. Isaiah Satanga. I didn't know, dog. At one point, I was pretty sure Oklahoma fans going to start cussing your name, money. You can't be muffing punts like this. Jaden Ott, nowhere to be seen. But he had the one great play where it put Oklahoma in scoring position, and then you get the rushing TD that really puts this game, what we think is out of reach. 2 scores is going to be too much for Michigan. This is a team that doesn't play well from behind. As a matter of fact, when Michigan is 2 scores down, they're a lot like a one-legged man in that one contest. They could win, but it ain't something you want to put no money on. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what they do. They need to play from ahead. They need to be able to sit on your chest and make you chase them. If you are making them chase you, you're going to win the football game. That's what Oklahoma was able to do today. Yes, Tate Sandell did not have his greatest game, but he made the kick that mattered. He made the kick that counted. I loved every bit of this. This was outstanding to see. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, you get to go to church tomorrow, wear your crimson, show it out. Because not only did Oklahoma get a win today, Oklahoma State got embarrassed today. Got absolutely embarrassed. Worst loss by an Oklahoma State team since 1907. 69-3 up from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We broadcast from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm surrounded by the world's nastiest orange. They talk a lot of noise around here. They had a lot of fun at Oklahoma's expense, even as they went 3-9 last year. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow, y'all better not miss church. You better not miss church, all right? I don't want to hear nothing. Nothing. You better show up tomorrow, and you better wear your colors. You better wear your little pin. You better tell me all about what Mike Gundy did or did not do, okay? I don't want to hear not one word from none of y'all about my man's Brent Venables. Nothing. So many people want to see my man's fired, right? I've been saying it. I love Brent Venables. I think that he fits the culture. I think he's the right guy for the job. I think he's done everything in his power to turn this team into a winner. Hire Jim Nagy. Jim Nagy got a higher approval rating than Brent Venables. Brings in John Mateer. Brings in Ben Arbuckle. Doesn't get any credit for that. Joe Castiglione's in his last year as the AD. We about to have some moving and shaking. Coming off a year in which not only you're 6-7, but you're trash against the SEC, 2-6. Texas makes the SEC championship game in year one, makes college football playoff. They got a dude named Arch Manning. Everything is going against this man and Oklahoma. And what they do against this Michigan team? Whooped all ass. That's what they did. That's what they did. Two scores. 1 by 2 scores. All right? Make sure you write that down, Pokes fans. Okay? Meanwhile, shout out to the Ohio State fans to watch this show. There are many. I appreciate y'all because a lot of them wanted this one for me particularly. It ain't got nothing to do with the national anthem as part of it. When I put on my fan hat to go watch this team, I got to watch it alone. I can't have peoples around. And then I got to go put it all down, and I got to be very, very sincere about what it is that I think this team is capable of. And Oklahoma fans be the first people to tell you that I'm probably harder on the team than they think I should be, which means I'm doing my job, right? That's my job. My job is to call it straight up and fair. This game, I'm getting all cuts of hell because it's like, yo, explain Oklahoma at number 10. They can win this game. I don't know, man. They're coming off 6-7. They can win this game. And what they do? They go win this game. Now we get to talk about Oklahoma being 2-0, Texas being 1-1, and Oklahoma State being 1-1. I'm all right with this. I'm fine with this. TU keeps it up. They'll be 2-0, which means that both the schools I actually graduated from are undefeated in 2025. And I love that for me. I also love that for you because when I was smiling, you're having a good time. And we're all having a good time. Unless you're a Texas fan in which you show up here just to see me cry, which has happened on occasion. But not tonight, homie. Tonight belongs to the Sooners. When we come back, I want to have a little bit of a discussion about another game that I'm so very excited for and that I think fans will feel as emotional as I will if they can get the win. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen with Tennessee and Georgia and why game day is headed there next week. Back on Adapt and Respond. If this is your first time watching the show, please, thank you. Please and thank you for joining us here. If you like the show, consider, subscribing to the channel, join the community, answer the question in the comments below. It's real quick, real short. Do you think that Tennessee can get its first win against Georgia since 2016? Tennessee fans probably feel some kind of way about this one. I'm sure Georgia fans do as well. Both these teams took bye games, and we'll talk about the pay guarantees here a little bit later on because I think that we really do need to get rid of this part of college football. But Tennessee and Georgia have become a budding rivalry of sorts. It's not as big as the third Saturday in October when Tennessee and Alabama play because that's what they've always done. But Georgia, Tennessee, for those of you that are new to this, have been playing football against each other since 1899. But it's only since the expansion of the SEC and the inclusion of the championship game in 1990 that we've seen Tennessee and Georgia play each other pretty regularly. And they've been pretty cool spots on the resumes for both of them. 2022, we thought it was going to be the year for which we get to see Tennessee finally get back over this hurdle and get past Georgia, make their way to the SEC championship game with Hendon Hooker. It didn't go that way, right? Last year, it wasn't great either. This year, it feels like with Georgia coming to Tennessee and with 19 redshirt freshmen on that Georgia roster, a new quarterback at starter who has never seen kneeling when it is live, you got an opportunity here. And I think a lot of this has to do with Joey Aguilar. Did I think that Joey Aguilar was going to be a one-to-one for Nico Iamaleava? Yes, I did. Did I think it was going to be better than Nico Iamaleava? I couldn't tell you that for sure, man. But after what we've seen the last 2 weeks, I feel really good about what Joey Aguilar is capable of doing against this Georgia defense. Threw for 288 against East Tennessee State, which is quarterbacked by Cade McNamara. Bet you forgot Cade McNamara was still playing college football. Bet you forgot that he was even at East Tennessee State. But they put up 72 on East Tennessee State in a game where they paid him a lot of money. Georgia put up 28 on Austin Peay in a game where they paid him a lot of money. Georgia rushed for 4 touchdowns in that game. First time that they rushed 4 touchdowns in a game since 2023. But with 2 new starters at quarterback, we're going to be looking at the defenses, right? I think this defense has the capability to be as good or better than last year's Tennessee defense. That said, I'm not sure that they're as talented in the running back room, although they're deep, right? Star Thomas is good, right? Peyton Lewis is great. Deshaun Bishop, I love. Can you run on that Georgia front seven? If you can run on that Georgia front seven, it feels like you could go get a W here. The offensive line is much better than I thought it was going to be. And I still think that Mike Matthews and Chris Brazzell aren't necessarily getting the love that they should be. But today they both had 100 yards receiving. If both those guys can get out in routes and they can beat up on that Georgia defensive back group, you got a real shot here. What Kirby Smart's going to be up against, I think, is Gunnar Stockton trying to do too much or Mike Bobo not letting him do enough. You know Tim Banks is coming after him. You know this. You have to. Because anytime you get a first-time starter at Georgia, you have to take advantage of it because you have to immediately go, is that the weak part of this Georgia football team? Because you know what the defense is going to be. You know what Kirby Smart basically running that defense, Will Muschamp calling it, that they're going to be stout up front, that they're going to come downhill, that they're always going to have a guy or 3 or 8 that can make life difficult for you. But knowing what the crowd is going to be like and knowing how lathered up Vols fans are going to be for this game, I genuinely believe this is a pick 'em right now. Like I'm not ready to say that Georgia's got an edge. I'm certainly not ready to say that Tennessee's got an edge. However, is it going to come down to a Hail Mary from Josh Dobbs to Juwan Dennings like it did 2016? No, it'll be over before that. I think for Tennessee, you want to control the ball. You want to run the ball. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but when Tennessee rushes for $185 or more, they're unstoppable. That's it. You got to get started, run the ball. However that looks, Joey Aguilar gives you actually a little bit more wiggle in the pocket than Nico Iamaleava does, and he's better at recognizing the fronts in front of him, which means you could put more men out in routes, something you couldn't do last year. Tennessee was running out of max protect all too much in 2024. I think with Joey Aguilar, you're going to have more men out in routes, and you're going to give your running backs a cleaner picture with more wide receivers for them to cover. If you can lighten the box to 6, you got a shot to go be something special against that Georgia front. Now, is this going to define the SEC and its race? I think we're headed that way. You know, what I've seen from LSU is that they're good. Are they unstoppable? No. What I've seen from Oklahoma is that they're good. What I've seen from Texas is that they're good. Mississippi State jumped up and got a win against Arizona State today. Not Auburn beat Baylor. Baylor beat SMU. It's going to be a tough league, but right now there doesn't seem to be a clear favorite to win the conference championship. Hell, Florida took a loss to South Florida. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. I am excited for what this game can mean. I understand why game day is going there. I understand why we are having a conversation now about how many teams the SEC has got to get into the college football playoff, because right now it feels like it's them in the Big Ten, but I could just as easily see 4 teams making it. The loser of this game still has a pretty damn good way to make the playoff because we got this strength of metric thing coming in, and Greg Sankey's very excited about it, and I think it's going to help the SEC tremendously to get that 4-team in, unlike last year. As we get closer and closer to the game, and we figure out just who's available and how banged up they are or aren't. I mean, Georgia played without a couple of offensive linemen today. We're going to get a cleaner picture on what is expected here. I think we're also going to find out just what Joey Aguilar is made of as well. Like I made this statement about Gunnar Stockton. We knew that the dude could play when he came in late against Texas, got them the win. We knew the dude had moxie against Notre Dame, but he wasn't yet mature enough to understand what he was seeing from a defensive front from a top 5 program. Can Tennessee do the same to him? And is Joey Aguilar going to be intimidated by a Georgia defense that has basically its own aura about it? It's like Alabama when Nick Saban was there. You already expect it to be great. You already expect it to be intimidating. Is he going to outplay himself in that game? That is going to be the thing for me to watch in this one. If Joey Aguilar continues to play the kind of football he played against Syracuse, played against East Tennessee State, they'll win the football game. But that's a big if. I could just as easily see him going for 150 on 17 of 38 with 2 picks and a TD and a loss. But I think we're going to watch his body language and how he plays early, like we did John Mateer and Bryce Underwood tonight, to see what we think is going to happen later in the game. Again, getting in his head, finding out how he figures to make this thing happen is going to be fun. He's a veteran. He's shown some of that already in some really tight circumstances. He's also shown that he's kind of got to go put up a pass to nobody in particular, and those guys will go get it for him. Can you do that against Georgia? I don't think so, not in win, but I'm going to be very excited to watch it. Let's find out which quarterback has the goods in that game. Gunnar Stockton, Joey Aguilar. I know it's next week, but I'm already lathered up and ready to go for it. When we come back, let's do one of everybody's favorite segment. Let's talk about who put the money in the bag. Back on Adapt and Respond. If this is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us. We talk college football. We talk football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Did your team put the money in the bag? Because this is the first week in which we can really see it taking place here. And there were a number of guaranteed games on the schedule for week 2. That's why it was so paltry. That's why everybody was so in on Oklahoma and Michigan today. Is you're looking down at the schedule, you're going, wait a second, did I see Tennessee playing East Tennessee State? Yes, you did. Did I see Texas Tech play Kent State? Yes, you did. And on down the line. It's not a thing I love, because when people tell me that the regular season is getting devalued, I'm saying, okay, so you're going to regurgitate what some national analyst somewhere else that told you that doesn't like football. Cool. Let me tell you how you fix this. You take these games off the freaking schedule. That's how you fix this, all right? We went to 12 regular season games in 2006. If you want every game to matter, get rid of these games, drop it down to 10 games in the regular season, extend the playoff. Bob, we got it. It's done. Instead, what we get is me having to watch Ohio State beat Grambling State 70-0 and then pay them $1 million in guarantees, okay? Keep going down the line on this one. $550,000 Georgia paid Austin Peay for a 28-6 win. Keep going down the line on this. Oh my God. This is stupid. Like, when I tell you that Tennessee paid East Tennessee State $575,000 for a win, you're going, well, that means that East Tennessee State gets to fulfill its athletic budget. Yes, it does. But why is that Tennessee's prerogative? Why is that their responsibility? To which I would tell you it's not. And nothing in college football is charity. You're not making somebody else whole here. You are enabling them. You are doing what people say they don't like, giving them a handout. Don't give that team a handout. Make that team go earn it. There are some football programs that should not exist. There are some universities that cannot afford to play college football anymore. These games are symptoms that need to go away. We got way too many college football teams. I understand that yours probably is one that needs to stay. But when we talk about taking an L, getting your butt kicked, and then we say we care about the regular season, no. You're not going to convince me that that matters. Keep going down on this, and I can't get excited about Florida State beating the hell out of East Texas A&M 77-0, and then paying them what y'all pay. $450,000 for that game. But you know what I can do? I can get excited about Army beating Kansas State, and I can get excited about South Florida beating Florida. As a matter of fact, the way I see it, it's comeuppance and it's karmic, right? When you put that kind of game on the schedule, you're punching down. I always look up and say, it would be nice if the person you're punching down, the team you're punching down, actually punch you back in the face, size of the dogs, the size of the fighting the dog, not the size of the dog, and then took your money. To which we say on this here show, it's not that Army beat Kansas State 24-21. It's that K-State paid Army $1.175 million for the privilege. I tell you, Kansas State, you've been had. I said you've been took. I said you've been hoodwinked. I said you've been bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does. Oh, Army. Put the shimmy in the shag. Kansas State. Put the money in the bag. It's not that South Florida beat Florida 18-16. It's that Florida paid South Florida $500,000 for the privilege. Florida, I say you've been had. I say you've been took. I say you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does. South Florida put the shimmy in the shag. Florida put the money in the bag. I like it when the ski mask boys show up, the knock-knock boys show up on Halloween with the empty bucket saying, fill it. I did not come to get my butt kicked. I came for you to fill this bag with the candies, and I'm going to take it from me, and I'm not giving you nothing back. It's not no trick or treat. It's just trick, treat. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man. Like, I get excited about these things. I get excited about these things because then I'll look up and Utah's beat up on Cal Poly 63-9 for $500,000. I get excited about these things. I get excited about moving and shaking in the top 25. I get excited about an FCS team who just decided, nope, not today. Not today, Satan. Not today. Today, we will be taking the money that you have guaranteed to us, and we'll be handing you this L. Hold that. Get out of here. Matter of fact, reminds me, back when this show was really getting started, and I was not quite sure that this is where I was going to end up. It's a PhD program at Oklahoma State, pursuing English. I want to be Dr. RJ. Creative nonfiction. But I had a gimmick where I made up some little flags, with a piece of straw and paper, and I wrote a red L on them. And I walked up to Oklahoma State students, and I said, can you hold this for me? So they would be holding the L because I was that type. That's how it feels when an FCS team shows up, or a group of 6 team like Army shows up to your Big 12 program and hands you an L. By the way, Big 12, whew, that's rough. Mississippi State beating Arizona State. You're defending Big 12 champion. That's rough. That ain't good luck. Army lost to Tarleton State. Many of y'all don't even know that Tarleton State mascot is the Texans. And they also had Army put the money in the bag, but Army said it's cool. We're going to do it to Kansas State. Meanwhile, Kansas State doesn't get to do it to nobody else. Matter of fact, they paid out $475,000 last week to North Dakota, and they damn near lost that game. Kansas State might actually be cheeks this year. I am excited that we're getting back to conference play, that we're getting back to like for like. I'm excited that we're about to actually go into games that matter. LSU and Florida felt like it was going to be a big game until Florida lost today to South Florida. And then you look at their schedule and it's hell on earth. We went from going, you know what? That's the number 13 team in the country to, damn, Billy Napier might not make it out in November. It's right there for you. Take a look at the schedule. But more than anything else, excited for the Sooners. I'm glad everybody got to see it. I'm glad that Fowler and Herbstreit had the game. I'm glad it was at night, so I don't have to hear anybody's lip from Oklahoma talking about, damn, why was this a day game? Well, it wasn't one. Oklahoma showed up, and then we shouting overrated to Michigan, which is always the case. But you know what? Nothing wrong with telling the truth. If you like the show, please tell me that you like the live shows in the link below. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Otherwise, get some good sleep. Or, you know what? If you're still up and you're high on the Oklahoma win, have a beverage and think of me. Deuces.